You've been speaking them all your life, but do you really know what makes a sentence? Let's find out. A sentence is a group of words making up a complete thought. A sentence begins with a capital letter and ends with the correct punctuation, an exclamation point, a period, or a question mark. A sentence is made up of two parts, the subject and the verb. The subject is the doer or beer of the sentence. Usually it's a noun. It could be a proper noun, like a person's name, a holiday, a day of the week, or it could be a common noun, something like chair, plant, football, or it could even be a pronoun, like I, me, he, she, they, or even you. The verb is the action of the subject, or it's the state of being of the subject. In other words, it's what the subject is doing or what the subject is being. The verbs involved with states of being are things like is, are, was, were, am, those types of things. The subject and the verb of a sentence must agree. But first, you have to find them. Let's apply all that to an actual sentence and see if we can identify all the parts. Our sentence we're going to look at is a very short and simple one. The donkey brayed. Now notice that the sentence begins with a capital T and has the ending punctuation of a period at the end of it. The subject of the sentence is the word donkey. Donkey is a common noun, and it's the doer in the sentence. The verb is the action of the donkey. What did the donkey do? The donkey brayed. And you can ask 3 questions at the bottom to see if this really is a sentence. Does it begin with a capital letter and end with punctuation? Yes. Does it have a subject and a verb? Yes. Is it a complete thought? Yes. It must be a sentence then. Now I want to show you something a little longer and a little trickier and see if we can figure out if this too is a sentence. He is quite a comedian. Notice that it begins with a capital H. It has as its ending punctuation an exclamation point. The subject, in this case, is a pronoun. It's the beer of the sentence. The beer of the sentence is he. And what he is, the state of being of he, is a verb. Is. He is quite a comedian. So who is doing it? The subject is he. What is he doing? Well, he's just being. He is being quite a comedian. So he is are the subject and the verb in the sentence. And let's test this out with our 3 questions. Does it begin with a capital letter and end with punctuation? Yes. Does it have a subject and a verb? Yes. Is it a complete thought? Yes, indeed. There you've got it, another sentence. You're getting really good at this, so let's try a really tricky one. There are no good movies showing this summer. Well, our first clue, it begins with a capital T, and there is ending punctuation of a period. So far, so good. There are no good movies showing this summer. The subject in this case is not the word there. There is never a subject of a sentence. So there are looks like it might be a verb. Are showing might be a complete verb. What are showing? Well, it's movies. Movies is a noun, and it's the doer in the sentence. It's the thing that is not showing this summer. And so that's going to be the subject. The verb is the action of movies. What are movies doing? They are showing. There's other words in here like no and good, which describe movies, but we shouldn't be confused by those. So once again, in this case, I have a subject of movies and a verb, are showing. It's kind of tricky how, in this case, the subject is not at the beginning of the sentence where I might expect to find it. Well, just to make sure we've got it, let's run our test here. Does it begin with a capital letter and end with punctuation? Yes. Does it have a subject and a verb? Sure. Movies are showing. Is it a complete thought? Yes, it is. Remember, there and here are never, ever subjects of sentences. Before I turn you loose for a lifelong of successful sentence using, I would like for you to look at one more example. Mow the lawn before you eat lunch. That sounds like something my dad would have said to me when I was growing up. Mow the lawn before you eat lunch. Now this seems really tricky to me because I can't easily find a subject. Who's the doer in the sentence? Who's doing the action? Well, in this case, you are doing the action. The person speaking to you. You mow the lawn before you eat lunch. But the you is not in the sentence. It's what we call an understood you. And that's why I've got it here on this screen with a you in parentheses. Because though it's not in the sentence, everybody understands that's who the speaker is talking to. So you is the subject of the sentence. What are you supposed to do? What's the action of you? You should mow the lawn before you eat lunch. So mow is the verb. So our subject and verb is the understood you and then mow. So, pretty tricky, but let's see if it fits the sentence test. Does it begin with a capital letter and end with punctuation? Yes. Does it have a subject and a verb? It does. Even though the subject is not in the sentence, it's clearly understood. In fact, you is always the subject of every sentence that is a command. And is this a complete thought? Could this stand alone? Mow the lawn before you eat lunch. Yes, it is. Therefore, we've got one more sentence. Great job. You've gotten really skilled at this. Now try a few of these on your own and see how you do writing and identifying sentences in English.